back to another episode of How I Cook. I'm Stephen and Frederick, and this is Jim from Haverford, PA.
Hi, everyone.
Jim is the person, one of the people who gave me this apron. And Jim is going to teach us a wonderful recipe today for Asian noodles. I'm just going to do the first part. These are soba noodles. They're buckwheat noodles that we're going to boil for 8 minutes. Do you always have to use buckwheat noodles?
No, actually, I usually just use regular spaghetti or capellini. Any type of pasta spaghetti would work. The only thing I would avoid is whole wheat pastas because they tend to absorb all of the dressing and it kind of becomes a gelatinous mess. So you want to probably stick with the usual pasta that you would be used to, or the soba noodles are a great choice as well.
Great. So this water was already boiling before we started. We have 8 minutes. Can we do the rest within 8 minutes, do you think?
Sure.
Okay.
So first off, we have a bunch of Asian ingredients here. Don't be afraid of the fact that they may not be familiar to you. We have tahini, which is basically just ground sesame seeds and some water, some chili, sweet chili, Thai chili pepper sauce, and soy sauce, a lime, ginger, which we're going to show you a neat hack on, and then some sesame oil, some sugar, some salt, and some scallion. Mm-hmm. So pretty simple ingredients. So first off, we're going to mix the liquid ingredients while our spaghetti or our soba noodles are boiling. And tahini is a very thick sauce that you're going to have to kind of play with. But we're going to take a half a cup of the tahini. And I guess we'll just do the Stephen method of how I cook and not try to be overly precise. But you do want to mix it before you start measuring because it normally sinks to the bottom, the thicker part.
So I've heard of tahini, but I've never used tahini before. If I didn't want to go out and buy tahini, could I use something else?
You could actually just use peanut butter.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a, you're going for sesame seed taste, and peanut taste is very similar, and it gives the same consistency when you're mixing the dressing. So
good to know. Why don't I get a whisk and I'll whisk while you add.
Okay. And so then we're just going to add a half cup of water. So all we have is a half cup of water and a half cup of tahini. Our next 3 ingredients, we're going to put 3 tablespoons of each of those in. And so keep going.
I will.
Work hard. All right. And so we're going to take 3 tablespoons of the Thai chili sauce.
I do not really like very hot stuff, but this Thai chili sauce, it's not overly bearing hot. There is a definite kick, but there's a little sweetness too. But if you don't like hot stuff, you just pull back a little. Remember, this is how I cook. Not the right way, not the way you should do it.
So 3 tablespoons of the sweet Thai chili sauce. And if you actually like heat, you can throw some more red pepper flakes in here.
Sure.
It's really about your own taste, right?
Yep.
As
What's
Stephen
this?
has told
Where are
us
you
so
putting
many
in?
times. Soy sauce. So we're also putting our 3 tablespoons of soy sauce.
Now this is the high octane soy sauce, but there is low sodium.
Yeah, Stephen doesn't necessarily keep to the healthiest habits with some of the choices, but I always use the low sodium soy sauce. So now we're going to try to attempt to get, and it's a rough measure, but 3 tablespoons of lime juice. You can also use lemon if you prefer. So just keep squeezing out till we get 3 tablespoons.
I always say the recipes are easy. Doesn't this one look really easy?
It is. It's a little scary because of the ingredients, because people aren't always used to them. So anyway, I'm trying to get 3 tablespoons of lime juice, but in reality, it's pretty much the juice of a lime. And so it's much easier to get the juice out by putting a fork or a spoon into the lime and kind of squeezing it out yourself rather than trying to get it into a measuring
I know
spoon.
some people say that if you microwave the citrus first, it brings out. I've never done that, but you never know. Lots of hacks.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I think I'm going to take this off. It looks pretty good.
Has it been 8 minutes already?
But look at it. It looks pretty
Looks
much
nice.
done.
Yep. Okay.
So can we hold off for a second?
Sure.
I'm going to be back here rinsing, and Jim will continue.
Okay. So now we need to get 3 tablespoons of ginger. So this is great. First off, folks, don't be afraid of ginger root. It's really scary. It's gnarly. And you look at it and you say, what do I do with this? And your immediate idea is that you should peel the skin of the ginger root with a conventional peeler. But actually, I've learned a really good hack, which is the skin of a ginger root is very paper-like, and all you need to do is take the back of a spoon and scrape it, and the skin comes off perfectly. And so this gnarly looking piece of ginger becomes this nice, clean piece of ginger that you're now in a position to grate. So you want to get the skin off because the skin has a very papery texture and it would ruin the dish. You don't have to get every single little bit of it off, but you do want to try to get most of it off. So now we're going to grate this with a normal grater, and we're going to keep going until we get about 3 tablespoons. Now Stephen, because he's all about convenience, actually has a jar of ginger, but
I was just going to say, Jim beat me to it. If I was doing this alone, I would either have a squeeze tube of the ginger. I also bought a jar of the ginger.
Yeah, but there's something nice about having fresh stuff, and it does, to my belief, it does change the taste. So
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, rather than having lime juice or ginger from a jar or garlic from a jar or a squeeze tube, I just prefer to do it the fresh and I think tastier.
This kitchen smells really good. You can smell the lime, you can smell the ginger. So this is taking a while, and we're not going to bore you with all this grating. We'll be back in a few minutes. I will put the noodles in a bowl, and Jim will be done grating this. All right, see you in a few minutes. Okay, welcome back. A few things have happened while you were gone. I ran the noodles under cold water and I rinsed them. So here are the noodles. Jim continued to grate the ginger.
Which we're now putting in the sauce.
Right, he didn't lose a fingernail or any skin. I give him props. Does anything else go in here?
So we're going to put a teaspoon of sesame oil, and we're going to put 2 teaspoons of sugar, and just pretty much a pinch. It's about a quarter teaspoon of kosher salt, and pretty much a thinly sliced a bunch of scallions. So maybe about 10 small scallion. But again, this is another thing that you do to your own taste.
Yep.
So you just toss all that in. And we'll get our sesame oil.
Now this, you gotta be careful. Sesame oil is pungent. It's really delicious. It's really good. You use too much, it can really screw things up.
Like you can smell it already.
Yes.
Going in, right?
So don't be fooled. I think the first time I used sesame oil, I was like, oh, that's so good. Let me put more in. No.
Yep, don't overdo it.
Don't overdo it.
And then my next hack that I really like, besides doing the thing with the ginger root, is rubber gloves. And it's not because I'm cooking in your kitchen, Stephen.
Huh?
Yep. Well, we're going to need to mix this all in. And because there's oil in here, it's a little difficult to work with the spaghetti or the pasta.
Okay.
So you're going to pour that in.
This. Just over?
So just pour it in.
Okay.
And what we need to do is we need to work it in a bit. So we're going to scrape the bowl to get
scrape?
Get all the good stuff out. And then just got to get in there. Now, I think kids would love this, right?
I think kids would love.
They would, yeah. Just because there is oil in here. I'd just be really careful with the fact that there's oil. But you really need to work it a bit, right? Now, this is meant to be a cold dish. So it's cold, spicy Asian noodle. So what we're going to do now is we're simply just going to cover this and put it into the refrigerator.
Okay.
And leave it in there for a few hours. I mean, you already ran the spaghetti under cold water, and we're just going to let it sit and get the flavor into the pasta, and we'll serve it as soon as it's chilled.
I've said this before. I wish we had smell-o-vision.
It's an awesome smell, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a really good base, because what you can do is you can put shrimp into it. You could, just for color, you could throw peas in. You could skin and seed a cucumber and add to it, whatever your favorite types of things are. But this is a good base to start working with. It's got a very unique Asian flair to it. So it's a nice side dish, but it could be the base for a main as well.
Aren't we glad that Jim came down? All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Well, welcome back. So the noodle salad is in the refrigerator, continuing to chill. What are we going to have with it? We're going to have a sakatini. Those of you who are regular viewers, you remember I made a sakatini before. This one is going to have a little bit of a difference. So, can I show you how to make a sakatini?
Sure. And you don't have to do this either. Anything dry would go really well with those noodles. So a dry white wine, a light red wine, or a dry beer, such as a Sapporo or a Kirin, they would match really well.
Or for the kids, anything without alcohol. So it's 1 part sake, 4 centiliters, to 3 parts vodka. I bet you I don't have enough room for the vodka, but that's okay. You know how it is around here. 4, nope, it's going to be around 10 centiliters. 8.
We're right towards the top.
Okay, here comes the twist. Last time, I didn't put any lime juice in. This is Rose's lime juice. Really good in cocktails. I would recommend either fresh lime or Rose's lime juice because it's made for cocktails. Don't get those little squeeze bottles of lime juice or lemon juice. No good. When it comes to fresh, with this, I agree with Jim.
Just for drinks.
Just for drinks. The most important part. Okay, so we shook around 100 times. You know that's my rule if you're a regular viewer. This is just a small glass for me because you know I'm not much of a drinker. And the bigger one for Jim.
Because I'm the guest.
You're not a guest, you're family.
I'm the first man chef.
You are!
Yeah, wow.
Cucumber.
It's amazing how much flavor cucumber can add to a vodka drink in particular, or a gin drink. It's really amazing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, with the Asian theme continuing, sake, we say cheers.
Sakatini.
Sakatini.
Great.
Wonderful.
Wow.
All right, I'm going to clean this up, and then we're going to end with the shrimp dish. See you in a little.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome back. All right, we've cleaned up a little. We've prepped the next thing. I still have my sakatini. So, what are we going to be making? We're going to be making an Asian style shrimp. It's very easy. One of the things I did while the camera was off, I deveined and peeled some tiger shrimp. Do you need to get tiger shrimp? No. Get whatever shrimp you like. Getting frozen shrimp that's already peeled and deveined, perfect. Use whatever you like. Jim's going to be my sous chef right now. So Jim, can I have a 1/4 cup of soy sauce?
Sure. Boy, we're salting it up tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to have to drink a lot of
Just
water.
going in the bowl?
Everything in the pool, yes.
Okay. We got the soy.
Beautiful. This is rice wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons. Yeah, you're done with this. I'll take this from you. If you don't have rice wine vinegar, that's okay. I would just use 1 tablespoon of regular vinegar. Rice wine vinegar is very mild. Regular vinegar is not. So no need to go out and buy this. But if you're going to be cooking Asian, it's great to have it. 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. I already measured that out.
Got it.
I don't know if you want to start mixing.
Yes, sir.
And now we're coming back to the sesame oil. 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Remember, It's pungent, it can ruin a dish, but in this case, it makes a dish fabulous.
And especially if doing this for the first time, do the measurements just because you can play with it later. You can add more spice, you can add more sweet, but at least follow it initially. So things like using too much sesame oil, you'll understand better.
Good tip. Okay, Jim did all the hard work grating that ginger in the last recipe. You know me, quick and easy. So I have some already grated ginger in a jar. Can we have 2 tablespoons of this?
Tablespoons, sure.
Yes.
Next.
Something else that would be really good from fresh, but quick and easy is my middle name.
But you know, again, the hack about using a rubber glove, I love to mince my own garlic. It has a different, changes the food, and using the rubber glove avoids any smells, oils, garlics that you want to mince or chop yourself. It can really avoid that smell later on your hands. So with all those leftover COVID gloves, think about them in the kitchen.
Pretty smart. 3 tablespoons. This is going to be garlicking.
Wow.
No kissing tonight, kids. Great. And a tablespoon of olive oil. Can you use vegetable oil? Yes. Can you use peanut oil? Yes. I just happen to be using olive oil. See how deep he was pouring that and it didn't come gushing out? This is a hack I saw on the internet. When you take out of an olive oil bottle that
The whole thing?
yeah, the plastic thing, if you turn it around the opposite way and push it back in, it makes it to be much more of a spout, so when you pour it, it doesn't come gushing out. The internet's a great place for hacks. And then this is 1 pound of shrimp, like I said, peeled and deveined. We're going to put it in here. Jim's going to mix it all together. And if we were not making this on the episode right now, we would put it in the refrigerator for at least half an hour to marinate. At least half an hour, it can be longer. But because we're doing this episode, we're gonna do it right away.
Okay.
So this pan has been on for a little on low. I need around a tablespoon more of olive oil. So can you pour that in there? I've turned the pan up to high.
And all the liquid too?
All the liquid too. It's going to make like a sauce. There we go. So these are pretty big. I'm just going to make sure they each have a side down. If they were smaller, I would keep moving them around. Remember, shrimp cooks very quickly. If you overcook it, it can become like an eraser. So we'll just let this sit for a minute or two. Flip it over a minute or two and it's done. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll clean all this up. We'll get the noodle salad back out because we're going to quickly plate and then enjoy. Jim flipped the shrimp for me as I was doing some other stuff. It was around a minute, minute and a half on one side, around a minute, minute and a half on the second side. We're going to get these shrimp out so they do not overcook. And just put them here. We're then going to let this sauce reduce down to become more of a sticky type of sauce. And then we will plate. Well, actually what we're going to do is we will then throw the shrimp back in, get it coated, and then we will plate. So you can see already this is starting to thicken up. Maybe you can't see, but trust me, it is. We're not going to bore you and make you watch this whole reducing. But while we are waiting, I just had an idea. I keep seeing these sesame seeds here. What are they for?
So they're just to top. So you want to create a little bit of contrast with texture with the noodles.
Mm-hmm.
So sesame seeds are a nice addition, or chopped peanuts or a nut of your choice would add a nice flavor to it. But it's more about adding texture as well. So that's why they're still out. We have a little bit of salt left, which we have so much salt in here from the soy sauce. I'm not sure that it's necessary, but again, that's kosher salt. it adds a little bit of a different flair to the dish, but just a little bit.
Cool. This is starting to reduce. As it reduces a little more, I then am going to add some scallions, around 3 tablespoons of scallions. I don't want them to be in there cooking so long they'll really wilt. In the salad, there's not heat, so they're not wilting. The integrity is staying there. If we put them in here too early, they will wilt down, and we don't want that.
Yeah. And if you don't prefer raw scallion in the salad, you can saute them first and add them. Just like I added the fresh scallion, I just prefer fresh.
Yeah, good to know.
Saute.
Yeah, this is becoming stickier. It's reducing down.
So it's pretty much the sugar that makes it caramelize and get sticky.
Yep, that little bit of 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. That's it, but it does the trick.
So since the noodles are already chilled, while that's reducing, you want to do a final toss of the noodles because as it sits in the refrigerator, it's going to get kind of stuck together a bit. So you want to move it around again. And the rubber gloves are your friend when you're in the kitchen with this particular dish. Now these noodles have turned out a little darker because they are buckwheat noodles. If you do it with normal spaghetti or capellini, it would be a bit, it would be lighter looking, and you could certainly dress it up with whatever you would like. Red pepper, peas, whatever.
Or you're going to plate with your hands?
Well, your best utensil is actually your hands. Didn't Julia Child say that or something? But anyway, you can play with it a little bit and sort out a serving.
Look at this. This is gorgeous. All right, this is basically done.
Back in.
I'm down to low. Back in. Toss, toss, toss. Do you want to put some sesame seeds on that?
Sure. And what I'd also do is I might plate this with a small side salad or something to just put some fresh veg or...
Look at this. This might be our best episode ever. 2 winning dishes. So this is a pound. If it was just the crew and me, we'd probably just split it. But we're going to act like we're not total gluttons. And we'll say 6 of them are a serving. I'm going to try a little sesame seed on the shrimp as well.
A little more kosher salt on the top.
Do we want to try this?
Sure. That's the proof in the tasting.
There you go. Here.
I'll try your shrimp first.
Do you want a knife? Oh, no. Like butter.
Wow. Nice. Really nice.
Thanks. This is a really big serving. Delicious.
That's what we're going for.
I'm not a fan of peanut butter, so I'm glad he used the tahini. Really tasty. You like spicy things more than I
do. So I would put more, I will often put a little more chili, sweet chili on top. Or you could even, as I said earlier, you could put some red pepper flakes into the dressing as you're making it. But you need to do it to your own taste.
This is the perfect amount of heat for me. I can taste it like mid-tongue. But if you're somebody who really likes heat, you're going to want to add more.
And it is a nice hot dish that's actually served cold, which is interesting.
So tasty.
You ate my shrimp.
I ate the other half. I did. You can have more. There's plenty. Once the camera goes off, it's
every man for himself.
Every man for himself. So hold on. I really want to thank Jim for coming down. It's been a great
Thanks
episode.
for having me.
Mwah. Yeah. And want to thank everybody for watching. Please tell your family. Please tell your friends. This is How I Cook with Stephen and Frederick. Take care.
Bye for now.